It's like anything else, you know. Familiarity sometimes breeds contempt, but in this case, it bred almost like a surrogate family, you know.
It was almost like a family atmosphere. The rainbow, even the food they serve with the rainbow. There's not funny names you can't pronounce. It's my mom. Half those recipes are my mother's, okay, and that's family food.
And the food here is really incredible as far as, especially for the prices. You know, you get a nice filet mignon, and you're getting a filet mignon, a spago steak at rainbow prices. You know, it's really tasty.
For pizza, they do the best fucking pizza on the planet here, right here. You can't get better than this pizza here.
And their salads are to die for. Their soups are notorious. Their chicken soup.
I like to think that the rainbow, when I go there, is like you're going to a house party. And I've told Mario this many times. I said, when I come here, I feel like I'm coming to your home. You know, you've invited me to your home, and once again, great food. You know, it's not just a bar. It's.
Well, now, you said you didn't meet Mario the first time you played here, but do you remember your first encounter with him and what your...
You know, I don't. I really don't. I mean, I wasn't always quite sober, I must admit. You know, when I was young, you know, I was foolish. You know, I used to drink, and then I discovered drugs.
It's like you feel like fucking vampires, you know, and you're booted out at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, you're all gacked up and fucking drunk, and I mean, there's been fights here. There's been every possible thing you can possibly think of. I think it's going on in this fucking place. Everything. I mean, someone should do a documentary on this club. I mean, a real good documentary, and interview people or do some investigation what went on in this club. I mean, things went on in this club that, I mean, somebody would say to me, oh, so-and-so took all his clothes off and just run across the table the other night. And I go, oh, really? Wait, is that the rainbow?
My dad being the kind of person that he is, it's like, well, everybody was like, he adopted everyone that walked through the door.
Mario's like he's like your grandfather. He's like your favorite uncle. He's like your surrogate dad. He's your big brother all rolled into one.
You know, you could always count on him for stuff. He would, you know, if I needed money for gas to get home, he'd give me a $5 bill or something. And if you were hungry, he'd take you back into the kitchen in the Rainbow and give you a bowl of soup.
Mario has always been a sweet, sweet man to me. He really, really, he's like a father figure to me. But not mine, he's more like a brother, you know.
He is so good. He loves this place completely, from top to bottom. It's his baby. He loves it just as much as he loves, I don't know, I guess whatever goes over the windows.
He's worked hard, you know, harder than I have, harder than you have, probably.
If the dishes need to be done, he'll jump back there and do the dishes. And still to this day. If there's too many cars out front waiting to be parked, he'll jump in there and do it. I've seen that man do everything. He's helped me he's been my busboy, he's been my parking attendant, everything, whatever, dishwasher, even cook. I've seen him cook. He just jumps right in there. That's why this place is still a business, I think.
I mean, he has a rule now that where this thing is here, Michael, you can own it, but he's in charge. Okay, he rules my world. But one of us has to be here.
I'm here sometimes 7 days a week. I used to be here 7 days and 7 nights. Now I'm here Wednesday through Saturday. I watch what's going on, and you pay attention to what's happening. That's all.
Literally would, in fact, my mother used to get upset because he would leave the house extra early. He'd be there hours ahead of everybody and hours after everybody. But he took care of everything. It was that hands-on approach.
Well, family business, more or less, like I say, I'm the guy that does the work. And my other two partners don't know what is the work. Of course, Lou Adler, he's got more money than the Pope. And Elmer Valentine, another guy, smoked too much pot or whatever. And I have my granddaughter runs the whiskey. I have my son here, and I got Tommy next door, and I keep an eye on things. I watch going on.
There was, you know, 2 owners, actually 3 if you count Lou Adler, but Mario was the one who put a face on it. You could see Elmer around, you know, back there smoking pot with, you know, whoever. But Mario never did that either. And he gave us such shit for getting high, too.
When I was younger, it was almost not a competition, almost like a, I don't know, an independent thing, where it was like my thing was to revolt. I didn't want my father's control, where now I'm 48 years old and I embrace it. I'm glad to spend the time with him, and I realize that about everything I know comes from either my father or my mother.
I pat myself on the back. There's only one of me. And it just, the way you treat people, not phony, you got to be real with people. In other words, if you're a dummy coming here, I'm going to get on your level and talk what you want to talk, not what I want to, what you want to say. And just getting on the level of the people that you deal with. And you have to be there. And if you're not there, you go to people come to see you. I got people call me from Longview. You going to be there? Well, if you're there, we'll come down. No, we'll come down. So I got to come down. People want to see me. Why? I don't know. Maybe I'm good looking. I don't know what it is.
Mario was at my birthday party last December, and you know what? I want to find out what he drinks or something, because he don't age a fucking day, man. He looks exactly the same today as he did when and I'm not just saying this. In fact, he looks better today than he did when I first met him. And then along the way, I think he had a couple of heart bypasses.
And you'll always find, if Mario's in town, Mario standing either by the front door, in the back in the kitchen, or in the parking lot, greeting every single person that comes. He knows everybody.
A lot of people that own these joints, as I call them, or saloons, whatever you want to call them, pubs, they think that that the customer waits for them. You got to wait for that customer, that person that comes to the door, and you got to know how to greet them. But you have to mean it, you know, from your heart, from yourself, not from just because he's a customer. I don't give a shit if they spend a quarter or if they spend $1. It doesn't matter to me. Hey, how you doing? I'm interested in the person, not the money they spend. Money's a material.
These clubs, and I suppose the Rainbow and the Whiskey especially, are such landmarks. Your personality is so much of them, and you've designed it so much that they will carry on. How do you envision them 20, 30 years down the road?
I believe that 20, 30 years down, I won't be here, I don't think. Of course, my aunt died, she was 103 on my last, who knows. But I believe that the places will be here after I'm gone, 30 years or 50 years, because I have a living trust that I want my son to continue on with the whiskey the way it is. And when you're gone, I want my grandson to do it, which he's into the business now. He promotes a lot of shows, and he's a really sharp guy, Mike. And I think he'll preserve that.
You know, reality, yeah. You know, I know it's gonna happen. We know it's gonna happen, but I try to like veer away from it, you know, because I have been in it my whole life, and I have seen it every day of my life. And it's like I kind of want to venture out into not necessarily bigger things, but just bigger in a different aspect of things. As I was growing up, before I had, you know, when I was able to make my own decisions, it was like I was always down here. But once I was able to do my own thing, I didn't really spend the time here, you know. But now that I'm here, you know, I see it's, you know, this is what it's all about. You know, this is the music scene started here, you know. Part of my main goal here is to bring it more into the 90s. Bring it more into what people want to hear and what people want. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to try to keep rock alive or keep that stuff living. I'm here to make a difference and to make new music in people's face, you know.
You used to see a lot of punkers on the street. You know, every now and then the punkers and the rock and roll guys would clash, and you'd have fights. But for the most part, they had their own little agenda.
My 5th or 6th show ever, I had a huge riot where it was a bunch of punk bands, and the one band didn't want to get off stage, so all the audience members started fighting. They ended up shutting the show off, and the place went crazy.
They didn't really oversell tickets, but too many people showed up. People were upset they couldn't get in. You know, there was problems, you know, fist fights on the street.
And we had gunshots, people got stabbed. I mean, we had like 3 helicopters, SWAT team outside. I mean,
show lets out, it just escalates. I don't know how riots start. It usually starts with 2 drunk skinheads throwing a bottle at a cop usually. And from there it's on and cracking.
That was pretty crazy. That was like the craziest experience for me. It was all over the news. I mean, it was really cool.
With punk rock, people were so vicious and vicious. Yeah. They're so destructive, not only inside but outside. They break windows, car windows. It's destructive. So I closed the whiskey for 2 years. No funds, just closed it.
They would come and barricade the streets around for a block square around there. I mean, that's right there, yeah, down, you know, just that whole area. They would block almost to Roxy.
You don't want to go out destroying people's property or go to people's houses, knocking on their doors or shitting on their lawns or whatever, you know what I mean? So you just gotta watch that.
I mean, I started going there, I mean, by 79, 80, when the store would die, they started booking shows at the Whiskey. And it was bands like Black Flag, Circle Jerks, the Blasters, Adolescents, Agent Orange, things like that. All the old LA punk, first running under rock record bands.
I mean, it pretty much stays mellow. I mean, you got your typical, asshole bands, excuse my language, but, just the bands that think they're God and they're not. I mean, the fight thing has been, pretty big around here,
They just, Black Flag brought out a jock element. They were the Dead Kennedys back in the day, brought out a jock element into the punk rock scene. There was punk rock people, but then jocks were into those two bands. So you'd get a jock element there. So you would have confrontation between the jocks and the punks. It was just a natural progression of what was going to happen. We hated jocks, and they hated us. We were freaks.
Our job was just to keep people moving, and you would see the same people every Friday and Saturday night, the same punks, the same rock and roll people. So you sort of know it, and you'd say, okay, well, hey, goodbye, guys, see you next Friday night, and sure enough, boom, they'd be there.
They just came. They started hassling people at the Whiskey, started hassling us on the streets.
So and you would know who your problematic people were, because you'd see them. These are the ones that were always intoxicated on Friday and Saturday nights. So you know who they were.
Most of the punks that are lifers are guys like me that are ready to go, that have been in prison. No, I don't get in hassles. Everybody knows on the boulevard I'm ready to go. I was a street kid there. Anybody's been around, they want to get it on. I'm first in line, I'm like, oh hell, don't make me take my leather off. I will wreck you. Just like I get the phone, Deborah. Book my day out. Cash. That's it.